Okay, so we're back on plot 9, late May 2017. A few changes and additions to the plot. We'll start in the lavender bed at the beginning. We've got a cherry tree which is new. Not sure if it's a flowering one or a fruiting one, but it's still growing, so there's nothing on it yet. And we've got a salvia which is just about to come into flower, which has moved up from the pond area, and this is a new addition. This is a butterfly lavender. And the lavender, oh, there's the sage, which is always doing well. And the lavenders look great, not in flower yet. And then this part where the 3 beds are for the herb garden, most of the time died off, so I've replaced it with some creeping varieties. So hopefully they'll spread all over this bed. And then we've got this big one here, which is completely in flower. This is about a couple of years old, this one, and there's honeybees all over it. So they're enjoying themselves. And in the next bed we've got some marjoram, sweet marjoram, not a herb I've never grown before, winter savoury. There's a new parsley, some normal chives and some garlic chives. And then in the final bed there's a huge oregano that grows like fury here, and then French tarragon, which I thought had died off completely, but it's come back and it's growing great. And then this is lemon balm. I grew this for the bees really, but again I thought that had died off for the last couple of frosts, but it's come back great. And then we've got the brassica. I've taken off some cover so you can see what's inside them this year, because it's pretty hard to see through the netting. So this is a brassica bed. There's a couple of corianders at the end. This is spring cabbage, and this is early Calabrese marathon. And they're actually heartening up, if you can see in there. Oh, Marshall's here. He'll be in and out of the picture. And then we've got another netted bed. This is spring sown onion seed. This was struggling, but again we've had some decent bit of rain in the last couple of weeks, and that's going great. 2 different varieties, Bedfordshire Champion and Red Baron. And then we've got more onions in the next bed. There's an apple tree at the end. Trained this, is 2 or 3 years old this one now, and it was in full bloom as well, and then the frost hit it hard. There might be 1 or 2 apples this year. Some spring onions at the end. This is elephant garlic, and then we've got the overwintered onion sets. These will be out in probably a week or 2 weeks, because they're all starting to bulb up and they look very good. They're a radar. And then we're into the first potato bed. These are second earlies, and they're Estima. Grew them last year, they were nice. And they're all earthed up with leaf mould. And then we've got the carrot bed. This is netted because of the carrot root fly. Bit hit or miss in this bed. First 3 or 4 rows didn't really come up, whether it was slugs or they just didn't germinate. Probably a bit too early. And the second effort they came up, and I've interplanted those with shallots, and I did a sow-in a couple of weeks back, and these have just come up. They're about a centimetre high, and there's some room at the last third of the bed for some winter carrots. Probably sow those next month. And then we've got another brassica bed. It's more marathon, Calabrese, and spring cabbage, and also some autumn cabbage. That's called Attraction. It's a white cabbage. There's a bit more room there, probably for some more cabbage. And then we've got last bed on this side. It's parsnips. These are Albion. Grew those last year. They were nice, medium sized, nice, and they didn't have a lot of canker on them, so they were quite good. And this end of the bed is going to be for Swede. I have sown some, but they've not come up, so I've got some in modules waiting to go out, or will be going out. There's some more chives, and then we're into the greenhouse. A couple of experiments in the greenhouse this year. I've got 8 plants, 4 on each side, the same ones. On the left is in garden compost, and on the right is in cow manure, rotted cow manure. And I'm going to see if there's any difference in the yield and the taste, see if it's worth doing next year. But there's flowers on the tomatoes already. And in the second half of the greenhouse, so this is where the garlic is, what was planted in probably September, October time, and this is going to be out very soon. And in its place will be 3 cucumber plants. And on the other side, oh, that's in horse manure, and on the other side are 5 sweet pepper plants. They're Marconi, I've never grown those before. And there was also some basil there. That's in horse manure and leaf mould. And on top are various seedlings, there's beans there, and some more basil. And at the end I've got some sea holly. Never grown those before, but they go out in September. Oh, and there's some very, very early potatoes there. They're actually in flower. So I think another week and I'll be seeing what's underneath that lot. So that's the greenhouse. There's some mint there as well. And then we've got the very top where the water butts are. The shed. Actually tidy, believe it or not. And behind Lavateria is a bird box. Last year there was 3 bumblebees in the bird box. This year we've had blue tits. And then behind, or to the right of that, we've got 2 beehives. Don't think they were in the last video. We've actually just pulled off some honey from the big hive, and they're about 20 pounds worth in weight, so these bees are doing great here. So that's a real success story for us. And then we've got the chicken house and the chicken run. We've still got 1 chicken left. She's on the other plot at the moment. Oh, and there's one of the blueberry plants on top. See if we can get an early harvest off those, because it's under cover there. And then we're on the second half of the plot. The pond, which we started the year before last, so that's maturing up nicely, and the plants around it. We've actually got a couple of newts in there and a couple of frogs. And then we've got the asparagus bed. We've had a few pickings off of that this year. There's a sunflower, and then we've got, primarily this is the autumn raspberry bed, but as you can see it's full of poached eggplants. I just let them go to seed every year and they come back, and the bees absolutely swarm all over them this time of year. I don't know if you can hear them, but they're actually just buzzing all over it. If I pan back out, you probably get an idea of the size of it all. And then the next bed is for runner beans and French climbing beans, and there's a few spring onions at the end. And through the archway into the next, to another potato bed. This is first earlies, Casablanca. Again, these were hit by the frost, but they're looking okay now. And then we've got winter squash. They've only been out a week or so, and they'll fill the whole bed up, hopefully. More spring onion at the end. And then we've got another bed. I've just put some garden compost over this one, and this is where the leeks are going. 2 different types of leeks in this bed. And then we've got, in the next one, we've got courgette. 2 courgettes. Not grown this type before. Early Jan, this one. Didn't have a good year with courgette, so we tried a different variety. And then the last bed is a salad bed. We've got 2 different types of lettuce. Bijou is the red one, Great Lakes is the green one, and then we've got a few peas, and we've got a few monge too. And under the netting we've got some radishes, beetroot, which are struggling. I'm going to have to redo those. And at the very end we've got 4 rows of leeks. They're doing okay. They'll be out in about a month's time. And then we've got at the very end we've got wildflowers. It's mostly poppies. And these are just self-seeded from last year. And we've got some comfrey. Bees love that as well. And then we've got a cordon pear tree. He's growing really well. And the cordon apple tree. These are both a year behind because I made a mistake last year putting them in with the wildflowers. Another blueberry bush. And this is where this bed's empty. Been prepping this for the sea holly, and this is going to be for the bees. And this is borage, all for the bees really, this area, and the 4 compost bins. So that's it. Oh, and the added bonus last year, last year was we managed to win best allotment in town. So we're going to enter it again and see what happens. And that's it.